Well, welcome. My name is Mike Batt. I'm with Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, and we're going to take a few minutes here to let everyone log in before we get started. All right, looks like we have a good number of attendees jumping on now, so we will go ahead and get started on time. So I want to thank everyone for taking their time and investing in the workshop today. My name is Mike Batt, and I'm the Director for Talent Initiative Programs here at Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. And we hope that by the end of this session that you're going to really find that, the information beneficial, and you're going to walk away feeling like you have a partner in helping you recruit talent here to the region. And so let me walk through the agenda here quickly and kick off with our keynote speaker. We're going to have Victor Hoskins, our President and CEO for Fairfax County Economic Development Authority, share some opening comments on what we're doing to attract external talent here to the region. I will provide an overview of the Talent Initiative Program and strategies here within the Economic Development Authority and our partners across the region. We're going to have our Workforce Development Partner, Development Counselors International, DCI, provide information, both Rebecca Gieman and Heather Gantz, on some of the research that we found out there and doing some talent research and some surveys out across the market in the country. And then we'll have Patience Fairbrother talk about that and share details on the Talent Initiative website that we've launched just in the last number of months. And then I'll close out with some closing, how to engage with us, and we'll open up some Q&A. So with that, let me introduce Victor Hoskins. Victor is our President and CEO of as I noted, of Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. He's a leader in workforce and economic development. He has run many of the authorities here in economic development organizations across the region. Just a couple of examples: in Washington, D.C., there he, in leading that organization for economic development, helped revitalize Washington, D.C. with projects like the Wharf, for those of you that might be familiar with that in the area. And then most recently, before joining us, was the economic development leader for Arlington County, where he led the team that won the Amazon HQ2 award. So he has a really extensive background, and we're thrilled to have him share some examples of what he's doing. And he's joined us in the last year with Fairfax County Economic Development Authority. So let me turn it over to Victor to share a few comments.
Thank you so very much, Mike. Really appreciate that. Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Fairfax County Economic Development Commissioners and our team, I want to thank you for being here today. Our primary mission at Fairfax County Economic Development Authority is to attract business investment and to foster success in this region. Our number one priority is you, really, our companies. We know that our company's number one challenge these days is finding talent and finding the right talent. And about a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago now, the Board of Supervisors, led by Chairman McKay, and also the county executive, they got together and they provided some funding for us specifically to focus on talent, attracting talent to our region, bringing people from other markets to this region to build our companies. And you have done the great job. You've created the jobs. You've generated the jobs. You've generated the investment. What we want to help you do is put people in these jobs. We want to make sure that every one of these jobs is filled. Right now, there are over 42,000 openings in Fairfax County and over 80,000 in Northern Virginia. And we know that there are people in other markets. Listen, I came from the LA market myself. There are people in San Francisco, in the Bay Area. There are people in the Boston, Cambridge area, New York, Austin, Texas, and other areas that would like a change. And we have an incredible quality of life here. We have amazing schools here. And what we want to do is we want to give you tools, digital tools to help you sell place. We want to help you market to those other markets outside of here to bring that talent here. We are very excited about you being part of your team and partnering with you, providing the kind of support that you need to make things happen. Now, we have over 60 colleges in this region. We have over 400,000 people enrolled in those universities and colleges. But we do know this, talent is always going to be a challenge for us in the near term. We are looking for people who are unique, who bring innovation. All you have to do is look around you. You know the people around you are spectacular. Even the people on this Zoom event today, they are from university system. They are from the private sector companies like Northrop Grumman. They're from Wegmans. Listen, we have a diverse set of industries here, from technology to grocery delivery. The bottom line is this: we want to help you fill your talent voids. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mike again.
Thanks, Victor. I appreciate it. So let me walk through a little bit at a high level what we're doing around the Talent Initiative programs. As Victor noted, the Economic Development Authority, I mean, our history is really to help recruit companies here and bring the companies to our commercial real estate market. You guys have done amazing job with that in our county and across the region. And Victor noted, I want to make sure I point it out again. There are 86,000 jobs open right now across our region. One thing I want to emphasize that Victor really took a leadership role in is creating the Northern Virginia Economic Development Alliance. And what that means is we're working really hard to brand the region, not just Fairfax County, but the region from Arlington, Loudoun, Prince William, and all the jurisdictions in between to help you bring talent here. And that's really our charter. I mean, we're doing this and basing this based on research and your input. So it's very important, and that's what you're going to hear here in a minute is what we're hearing from research across, and how talent views us from across the region. I'd say we're doing a couple things in promoting attraction across to Northern Virginia. Again, it's all so that we can help sell the value of the region, so you can focus on selling the value of your companies and bringing employees and talent to your particular organization. So we want you to look at us as an extension of your team and a partner in helping you bring that talent here. We're doing things, I think, diversity and inclusion is such a key important role in what we all need to do together. And so I want to share a couple of things we're doing around driving and partnering with organizations and working to bring talent again to this region for you. We're signing and developing annual sponsorships with organizations like Women in Technologies. We're working on developing others with National Society of Black Engineers, the Society of Hispanic Engineers, and other organizations. A great organization, Best Buddies, that works with intellectual and developmental disabilities. They can help you in placing people with some really meaningful employment. And we have some great examples of them doing that with companies like Accenture and others to help with your diversity inclusion, goals and charters. We have a diversity organization here in our Economic Development Authority, and we're working very closely with the historically Black colleges and universities, not only here in the region, but across the country. Again, trying to bring that talent here. And then working with many of the other universities, 30 plus universities we've been engaging to really promote that talent and bring talent here from, Stanford and MIT and Rochester Institute of Technology and just a number of others across the country. Again, delivering the same message, helping them understand that when their students graduate or their alumni are out looking for different career opportunities, this is a thriving, great place to build your career. We're doing things like sponsoring virtual career fairs, and we're doing that across a number of different areas. Internships, recent college hires was one we've done recently. Mid-career in the tech world, we hear constantly. We took the feedback, we read all of the information you provided when you registered for today, and we saw a lot of themes like, security clearances, cost of living, lots of things you're going to hear us talking about here over this workshop. But these virtual career fairs have been very successful. The college hires, the mid-career, reskilling career fairs, we're doing lots. And those are investments we're making. We're investing in those and we're providing that to you at no cost. And it's just an investment from the county. We're only about just a little over a year into this talent initiative. And the first year was really laying the foundation, which is why we wanted to time this workshop to make sure you can understand where we're heading and to continually get your feedback. So we're doing a lot in those areas. Lastly, before I turn it over to the DCI folks, is we're partnering and sponsoring a lot of different reskill programs with our community colleges, like Northern Virginia Community College that has a cloud computing program, for example, George Mason University and Marymount that are doing lots to reskill, have reskill certification programs. And then if you're not familiar with a couple of really good companies that we have headquartered here in the region, Reviture and SmoothStack, they provide a really great opportunity for you to rapidly bring employees on board as you're looking to find long-term talent. They do things like, if you're looking to reskill as somebody that might be a displaced worker or looking for a new career, take an aptitude test with them. If you look like if you feel like you have the right aptitude to get skilled up in different type of technologies, cybersecurity, cloud, lots of other things, take the aptitude test. And if it's a good fit, they'll bring you on as an employee. They'll then train you and place you with companies like the ones on this call immediately as a paid employee of those organizations. And then you can eventually, hire those folks into your organization. But it's a way to rapidly bring talent on board. So we're doing so much to work on the reskilling programs out there. So just a high level, we'll spend a little bit more time on it. I think you're going to see a lot from the DCI team. But let me transition now to Rebecca and Heather to really focus and share some information on the research that we've found so far.
Thank you so much, Mike. And a common theme that you have all heard from Mike and Victor in just these past few minutes is, this is what we're hearing, this is what we're seeing, this is what you have asked for. And that's really what we want to make clear, is that everything we do has to be rooted in research. Which brings us to this next section. So hello, everyone. Good morning. So excited to be here with you today. My name is Rebecca Gaiman. I'm the Director of Talent Attraction at DCI. I'm joined by my wonderful colleague, fellow talent specialist, Heather Gantz, who you'll hear talk through this research as well today. A little bit about our firm, DCI. FCEDA, Economic Development Organization. At DCI, we market economic development organizations and places. We exclusively work with cities, states, regions, countries, counties. We are place marketers, is what we live and breathe. And actually since 1960, we have worked with hundreds of different places on different marketing programs to promote these places, to attract business investment companies, to attract visitors, tourists. And in today's day and age and economy, we have seen this increased need to promote places to attract talent. And that's why you are all here today. Across all these different projects and experiences we've had, we have found that there is no one-size-fits-all approach to attracting talent. And really the most effective programs, the most effective marketing, it's going to be the ones that are rooted in research. We cannot promote Northern Virginia. We can't tell its story to talent. We can't convince talent to come to Northern Virginia unless we actually know what they think of this region and what they are looking for in jobs and location. So before we go into that, we would actually love to hear from all of you on this webinar today, because you are all on the front lines of attracting talent, or working with companies that are attracting talent, or maybe you're with a university and you talk to talent and you teach talent. So the question we have for you here today is, when you are trying to recruit talent from outside the region, what are their perceptions of Northern Virginia? Is it positive? They've heard great things. Maybe negative. They've heard about cost of living and expensive traffic, or neutral, no perception, not positive or negative. Or the last option here, we are not recruiting externally. Maybe it hasn't been a priority for you. You've had other fires to put out. You're not ready for that. Or maybe it's not a need for you, but go ahead and type in your responses. I see a lot of folks are putting in responses already. And if you have any context on your response, feel free to put it into the Q&A here so we can see them. Would love to see that. All right, so some responses are still coming in here. Gonna give people just another second to vote, and then we will close it out and reveal what you all are seeing. All right. Well, Heather, I think we can go ahead and share the results at this point. So it looks like we're almost at a near tie. So when you are recruiting talent from outside the region, 41% of you said positive. You know, they've heard great things about the region. That's really, really great to hear. And then almost at a tie, 37% of you said neutral, so no perception of the region. 8% said negative. Would love to hear in the Q&A maybe what are some of those things, because we need to tackle that definitely. And then about 14% said we are not recruiting externally. So overall, neutral, no perception, or positive, which is great to hear, because neutral perceptions means we can build from that, we can grow from that, and our mission is to change those negative perceptions. So thank you for sharing that with us. Let's dive into what talent thinks of the region. Today, we're going to show just 5 insights from several of our research reports. The first 2 insights we're going to walk through were from an online survey conducted in late March through May and June, so right during the pandemic. It was an online survey of about 4,000 people ages 18 to 44, people who were located in what we view as Northern Virginia's target talent markets. So we looked at New York, LA, San Francisco, Seattle, Austin, and Boston. And the reason why we wanted to look at those markets was because we were looking at cities that had strong in and out migration with the greater DC area. We also wanted to identify markets that have high concentrations of the type of talent that Northern Virginia employers need. So software engineers was a big factor in why we chose these markets. So of those cities I just mentioned, going to show you 2 insights on what they thought of Northern Virginia. So insight number 1 is that when we surveyed folks in those different markets, what we found was that Northern Virginia was really a blank slate when it comes to talent. So we asked in this online survey, what are 3 words or phrases that come to mind when you think of Northern Virginia? And really similar to what you all said just there in the poll, there's a lot of neutral. The biggest insight was unknown. There were a lot of, accurate perceptions like proximity to DC, outdoor recreation, suburban, East Coast, all accurate perceptions. So that's great to see there. You also see Arlington, Alexandria, definitely accurate. You also see maybe some misperceptions or perceptions maybe of the state that people have heard of, like Richmond came in there, and beaches, Southern rural history. So, not all necessarily bad, but maybe not things that are exactly Northern Virginia. Really, the takeaway here is that how can we attract talent if what most talent thinks of us is unknown, is a blank slate? We need to change that blank slate and proactively market to talent in those different cities so that when they hear Northern Virginia, when they hear of a job in the region, they don't think unknown. They think of actually all those concrete positive things on why it's great to live and work in Northern Virginia. So insight number 1, we are a blank slate for perceptions. Insight number 2 is not only are we unknown as a region, we are also behind in terms of favorability of places that are attractive for talent in those markets to actually relocate to. So as you'll see here, we are second to last when we ask talent, what are the top places that you would consider relocating if you were offered that right job and right salary? 36% said yes, only 36%. Our job at FCEDA, Nova EDA, and DCI, we want to increase that 36% so that when you are talking to talent, more of them are already willing to relocate. Now, we asked talent in this survey, well, why did you pick San Francisco? Or why did you choose New York, Boston, LA over us? The number one answer was jobs. People want to go to those markets because they know there is a ton of jobs, a ton of career opportunities where they can grow and thrive and make a great salary. So with that, those two insights were from our survey of the cities you see here on the screen. We also want to talk you through our national insights, which I'll turn over to Heather. And really, those insights are on what talent looks for in jobs and locations.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rebecca. Yes, so every year we survey talent across the nation on what factors really make or break career and location decisions, which brings us to insight number 3. Money drives job decisions, not necessarily the location. Now, you'll see under this green arrow that location is still very important. It got a 7.7 on a scale of 1 to 10. But company-related factors like salary, benefits, work-life balance, those are going to come first. These first 4 top factors you see on the left, those are the things that HR execs are experts at selling, can do it in their sleep. But what we find is that sometimes when recruiters or HR execs are talking to external talent about location, or the topic of location comes up, that's where there's some potential that the conversation could maybe fall a little bit short, which is why our marketing really needs to arm you on how to sell the location, how to make the location of a job in Northern Virginia an advantage, something that'll really serve you when you're trying to sell a job, and not an unknown like we just saw on that last slide that Rebecca shared. Insight number 4, just like when considering a job, when considering a location, money matters. Talent wants to know that they can both easily find a home, but also afford a home. This is a little bit of a challenge. Northern Virginia does have a perception as being expensive, a place to live. So this is a topic that we address very intentionally on our talent site that we'll show you here just in a couple minutes. So obviously we can't change this reality. We can't wave a magic wand and change the cost of living, but we certainly can talk about it in a little bit more of a strategic way than just, oh yeah, it's expensive here. So really one thing we did want to leave with this slide is that you'll see on this whole board, really no factor is unimportant to talent, which means we need to arm you with talking points on each of these factors, each of these squares, because these are really the things that talent wants to know about before they up and leave and relocate themselves or maybe their entire family. And lastly here, insight number 5, talent is more willing than ever to relocate for a job. In fact, 86% of the talent that we surveyed said that they are open to relocation for a job opportunity. It's notable that this is actually a 12% jump from the previous year when we asked this question. And with many of us working from home right now, people are really considering and moving to locations that can support remote work, and down the road, maybe support a mix of remote work and office work. As you'll see on the left, that was actually the #1 preference that talent said. They would love to have a mix of remote work and working in an office environment. So what does this mean? Going back to our research, most people want New York and San Francisco for the job. But if the jobs are remote, or they know that there are great jobs elsewhere, then that could mean that they'll relocate somewhere with a better quality of life long term, somewhere with a lower cost of living, but still has those leading factors that talent really considers, like the salary, the jobs, the career advancement opportunities. So how exactly do we position Northern Virginia to be that place? Let's see how we're doing that through marketing. I'll go ahead and transition to my colleague, Patience Fairbrother. She's the Senior Director of Digital and Brand Strategy, and she'll talk about how we are marketing Northern Virginia to talent.
Great, thanks, Heather. Hello, everyone. I'm really excited to show you sort of the so what to all of this research and all of this strategy. We have some really cool tools we're excited to share with you today. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here so we can actually take a look at the website itself. So we did launch workinnorthernvirginia.com this past April. I'm just trying to get my screen to share here. Sorry about that. And really, when we asked both talent and HR execs what would be most helpful for you, the number one ask was that that we have an online digital resource to talk about why Northern Virginia is a great place to work and live. So this is the site right here. We encourage you to check it out, workinnorthernvirginia.com. I'm going to walk you through some of the key features of the site. You'll see here, find a job is front and center. Some of the resources Mike touched on, virtual career fairs. I'm just going to scroll through here and we'll go through each of these areas. We'll talk about this a little bit more in a minute, but we do want to arm you with key messages. These are sort of your elevator speeches on why Northern Virginia is a great place to work and live. Scrolling down here, placing the region on a map. Again, we touched on that this is a regional effort. This isn't just Fairfax County, this is Northern Virginia as a whole. Showcasing proximity to DC was really important, showcasing the many different communities where you can live in the region. And this is a really cool stat, and this is pulled directly from JobsEQ, which is the jobs board source that we use. So there are more than 100,000 active job posts in the region right now. And one of the features of the site is a jobs board. This is another way that talent can get in to the job posts, specifically through industries. This is just great storytelling here for people who don't consider Northern Virginia to be a tech hub. You'll see here there are more than 4,000 open information technology jobs. So that's a really powerful stat there.
Patience,
this next section.
I'm glad you brought that up. All just the sheer number of jobs, which is so impressive. For a lot of you on the call, you're probably wondering, well, why am I going to promote someone else's job or the number of jobs in our community? I'm concerned about our openings. The reason we do this is because we hear from talent, they don't want to know just about the job they're applying for. They want to know about the whole economy. They want to know that, okay, if this doesn't work out in a few years, are there enough companies to support my career long term? Or for my partner or my spouse who's relocating for me, are they going to have an easy time finding a job? So that's why it's so important for us to paint the whole picture here, which Patience is showing on the screen now. So I'll let her.
Yeah, that's a great point, Rebecca, and it's a perfect segue into this next tool that I'll show you. And it's really all about storytelling for density of companies hiring in the region right now. So if I work in financial services, I can go over to this section here, click on financial services. These pins that pop up are all companies. So clicking on one of these, you'll see KPMG, says, name of the company, logo, little description, and then a link to view jobs on their site, as well as their social links. So this is a great storytelling tool. In terms of that maybe that second job, this first job doesn't work out, or what about my partner or spouse? What are they going to do if we relocate? And up here, you'll see there's actually an opportunity to add your company here. So I'd encourage you all to go check that out after this call. So that's one of the tools we wanted to show you. See the brand coming in here. This next one is a really fun one. This is for if you're considering moving, where in Northern Virginia should I live? And I won't walk through all of this, but it walks talent through, how do you like to get around? What kind of vibe are you looking for? Do you want city living, family friendly? And it spits out basically communities in the region that would be a fit for you based on your quiz results. And I know Rebecca and her husband recently relocated to the region and she took this quiz. So it's been helpful for at least one person, but we hope that it will help to showcase the diversity of the region and what it offers. And this next tool, I think this is probably will maybe be the most exciting to all of you on the call. We've seen a lot of chats come through about, cost of living is the major barrier here. And we talked about through the research that we need to find a way to storytell and to spin this in a way that's going to make sense. So we have this cost of living calculator. It's pulled through C2ER's National Cost of Living Index. And again, we can't say that Northern Virginia is an inexpensive place to live, but we can stack it up against other competitive metros where it does actually look quite favorable. So let's take a look at comparing a $100,000 salary against New York. Let's see here. Okay, so the results here show in Northern Virginia, your salary will go 34% further than in New York. So this does the job that even if your salary does not remain the same, even if it goes down, moving to a new job in Northern Virginia, that you're still gonna get that bang for your buck compared to Manhattan. And if you go through each of these categories here, New York groceries, 18% more expensive. New York housing, 47% more expensive. So this is a really great tool if talent that you're interviewing is having an issue with the cost of living, where they can compare and see for themselves the exact comparison there. And then I'll just show you one more section of the site here. If you go to
can you talk about what if the location doesn't show up favorably? Like if you are moving from somewhere rural or lower population, it's not going to be cheaper than Northern Virginia. So what about talent coming from those markets?
It's a great point. And in our cost of living calculator, you know, we do have sort of the opportunity to editorialize this section. So if I were to pull up, you know, say in Austin, Texas, which is a bit less expensive, Northern Virginia would look more expensive. But in this area, we have the opportunity to talk about some of the best schools in the nation, great housing diversity and options, you know, metropolitan amenities, things that talent care about. And I think the rest of the site does a great job of storytelling about those assets, but what we really want to stress is high value. So it might be expensive, but you're getting a lot of value for what you're paying for in Northern Virginia. So this employer resources page is a great place to start if you're browsing the site. We'll talk about this in just a second, but you can download key messages here. You can put your company on that company cluster map. This is an easy way to access it. And then there is an opportunity to become a featured employer on the site that I'm sure Mike can speak to a bit more, but essentially we want to showcase your jobs. We want to, you know, make this a resource for you as much as possible. So this would be an opportunity to get in touch with Mike to talk a little bit more about that. So that is the website, workinnorthernvirginia.com. And if we can go back to the PowerPoint here, I'll talk through the next section. Okay, great. So this next piece, it's really, what are your elevator speeches about Northern Virginia? And we've tried to narrow this down based on our research, based on what we've learned about Northern Virginia. So talent cares about meaningful work. This is the message that speaks to, you can have a career here that really makes an impact and you don't have to work on the Hill to change the world here. This is a global and inclusive place. We saw on that word cloud that a couple people put not a diverse place. Well, in fact, you know, Northern Virginia is one of the most racially, ethnically, and internationally diverse regions in the country. And we know this is a really hot topic right now. It's also LGBTQ friendly in terms of rankings. It's smarter for families. There are some of the best schools in the country in Northern Virginia. You have all of the outdoor assets of a lot of other places across the country, but the schools are really, really a great selling point for you here. And then finally, high value living. Again, this goes back to, we can't message that Northern Virginia is inexpensive. What we can say is that you get a tremendous amount of value. And when we do look at New York, San Francisco, Boston, some of these other top metros that we're trying to pull talent from, Northern Virginia actually stacks up quite well. So this is how you can storytell in that regard. So now that you know about the resources available, I will turn it back over to Mike Batt to talk about sort of how you can get involved here.
Thanks, Patience. I appreciate it. I'll point out one other thing too. I mean, when you go to that employer section of that site, there are so many good features. We've just spent a lot of time helping identify all the universities around the country that are doing career fairs right now, for example. So we have them posted on there to help do some of that lift for you, so you don't have to go figure out. If you've not looked for talent, if you're participating in some of these college career fairs and you've only been doing it regionally, think now, especially in this virtual world we're living in, you can go out there and talk to students and recruit students from all these universities around the country virtually. And we have a number of those on the site. So go check that out. Basically what I'll do now is just close out with a couple of takeaways and action items. And really, again, we just want to make sure you understand we're here to help you attract talent to the region and help connect folks looking for jobs with all the positions that you might have available. First and foremost, it's leveraging this website, harness the power of what you just saw from Patience, that we're investing a lot and we'll invest in that site daily for the long haul. Workinnorthernvirginia.com. You can see a couple of stats on the right. I mean, we're getting 20 to 40,000 users per month on the site and growing. So you're going to see, and you see a lot clicks that are going towards finding jobs from companies that we're posting on there, and take a look. We're already starting to make an impact with metros outside the region going to this site. So, so this is a great opportunity if you go in and feature your company and get on those cluster maps so folks can find you from all those different regions around the country. So take advantage of that and contact us when you want to have your company even further featured and jobs featured. But you can easily go on yourself and get yourself onto the cluster maps. And then again, when you're recruiting talent, leverage some of those messages you just heard from patients. There's lots of key messages, and we saw that in some of the Q&A chats too on, some of the one-pagers. I hope you see that what we're doing here is helping you with those one-pagers electronically, so you can point them to cost of living calculators, and they can identify their own, communities and where they might be coming from and how that compares to living here. Take that community quiz, because again, it's amazing what we have here, and we're doing, I think, a great job working with our partner DCI that focuses on this workforce development and the marketing aspect of it, to know that, if you want to live in a specific, unique, diverse community, I mean, we have that from Prince William County to Arlington County and everyone in between. So again, we're coming at this with Victor's leadership, that this is a regional approach. We want to promote the region to help you bring that talent here. So take advantage of those features that we have here. And then finally, a couple ways to get engaged. We're investing in, as I said, numerous virtual career fairs right now. Our investment to you, there is no cost to you other than your time to participate. We're doing a heavy lift and driving the talent to you. So the next career fair that we have that we're sponsoring, we've contracted with a company here locally in Arlington County called Brazen. They have great virtual fair technology. And so our next one's October 8th. We're partnering with and engaged with the Virginia Employment Commission, Visit Fairfax, some of the companies that are struggling right now because of what's going on with COVID in the hospitality industries, the airline industry. So we're engaged with United and Hilton and Marriott, and we're going to bring talent to this. So there's a great opportunity, and we have a few booths left that we can, if you want to reach out, where we can get you into this October 8th career fair, where we're going to work to drive probably close to 1,000 people to this event that are looking for new careers or reskilling. So we'll have, some of the universities and some of the organizations I mentioned participate in that. And then moving forward, a couple that I don't even have listed here, but just know we'll continually add these on the Work in Northern Virginia site. With our sponsorship with Women in Technology, for example, there's a career fair November 5th that we'll be sponsoring in partnership with Women in Technology to help you fill your jobs. But then the next one we'll sponsor after this one, where again, we're driving the event is in January with a cybersecurity, technology type event, and then going back into next year when the kids are graduating again, and hopefully we'll be getting back to some normalcy in our lives. But either way, we want to help the recent college grads there. So we'll be doing a career fair in April with career fair. So please engage us, and we'll help get you connected, and hopefully there'll be an opportunity for you to participate in those career fairs. So lastly, again, let's connect. Please reach out to us. We want to hear your feedback, on what you've seen today. We want to, this is a long-term talent initiative the county's investing in. Again, not only our county, but branching this out to our Economic Development Alliance partners, but we're investing heavily for the long haul with this talent initiative program to help fill these jobs, to help you bring talent to the region. So, look to us as an extension of your team. If you want to, give us that feedback. If you're bringing or trying to recruit a particular, set of talent here, let's talk about how we might be able to customize some virtual tours or some tours for the community for you. And, any type of other recruiting efforts, that's what we're here to do. So please engage us, give us your feedback, take advantage of this talent initiative site that we have, workinnorthernvirginia.com. And with that, what I want to do is just open it up to some Q&A as we close out and see what kind of questions you might have. But again, we really appreciate you taking the time with us today. So I'll let Rebecca help me with any questions you're seeing out there.
Thanks so much, Mike. And yes, please, everyone on this call, feel free to put comments, questions, anything into the Q&A. We'll do our best to answer as many of them as possible. And just want to say, if we don't answer them today on this webinar, we will be responding to these one-on-one as best we can afterwards. And there will be a recording of this on both websites, and we'll make sure that is emailed to everyone who is here today. So great. First and foremost, logistics questions. I just wanted to let you know that. So one question here, and Mike, this is one you have heard many times. This is kind of the million-dollar question. What about cleared talent? People with security clearances. That's a huge need of employers in Fairfax County and Northern Virginia. What are we doing to make sure we get to that really coveted talent?
Yeah, we know how important that is to you. So we're not only talking to the universities across the country on making sure they're instilling that in their students as they're going through their process of entering the workforce, on making sure they can pass the background checks and get those security clearances. But for those that are already in this world that have the security clearances, our team's already engaging with not only Virginia Values veterans, V3 here in the military transition offices in the region, but we're reaching out to the military transition offices nationally and even globally to make sure that they're aware that, again, of what we're sharing. This is a region to come live, work, play, with lots of jobs and lots to do. So we're trying our best to make sure we're recruiting, starting from the students and making sure they're doing what they need to do so they can get those security clearances. But there's a lot of folks with security clearances. When they're transitioning out of the military, we want to make sure that they settle here. And by the way, I think I saw a stat just in the last week. I think we're one of the top 2 locations anyway for military when they retire and settling here. So we just need to make sure we're engaging those military transition offices, and that's something we're very focused on.
Thanks, Mike. We are also getting another great question. What about, if you're a small company, a small business, you don't have the resources to go out and market, how would FCEDA fit in, or how could you help and really support companies like that? And anything on that, Mike?
I mean, a couple of thoughts come to mind. I mean, first and foremost, we have a diversity and small business team that really focuses on helping you with engaging with all the organizations that support our small businesses. We realize we have a few 100,000 companies here, but 90+% of them are in the 90% range are companies that are 10 employees or less. So we're very aware and working to make sure we help the small businesses to leverage the benefits of what we're doing here with recruiting talent. So again, profile your companies. Let's get you engaged. Let's get you exposed out there. And then we'll also get you connected with organizations that really focus on helping small businesses grow, thrive. There's lots of mentor organizations that we partner with that are actually part of our office. So lots of opportunities. So again, just engage us.
Just want to mention real quick, sorry, Rebecca, just want to mention that one of the things that we can do, and we have done for many small companies, is actually highlight their story, their narrative, their technology. We have some small companies that are doing some extraordinarily interesting work in technology and some non-technical. And what we want to do and what we try to do is we try to feature them. We had one dentist actually featured in the Wall Street Journal when he was producing masks during the time of COVID-19. Very small organization, but all of a sudden had a huge footprint. Listen, tell us your story. Let's get your narratives. Let us work with any communications person or marketing person you have on staff. We know what these reporters and we know what these publications are looking for, but also we have our own digital means of sending out information, and we may make your story part of the digital push in various markets. So there are ways that we can market you without, the normal marketing method, really more storytelling and narrative.
And Victor, that's a perfect segue into another question someone asked, which is, what are we doing to market the site and get traffic to the site? Mike showed some of the stats there. So far, we have 120 case sessions since April. We hope to do much more than that throughout the year. As Victor said, we actually have a whole media relations team that is consistently talking to outlets like Business Insider, Forbes, what have you, reporters who are asking us, what are some cool companies I can interview? Who's hiring? What are the innovations happening? So we would welcome to connect with people on phone, on Zoom, to learn your story and make sure we can promote you. We are also running digital advertising in all those target markets that Mike there had on the slide. So we're targeting talent with cleared positions, talent in tech, talent in different industries that we know are in need in Northern Virginia, running digital advertising to them, getting them to the website. Another great question someone had is, how are we appealing to those not in the younger age group, so 45 plus age range? A lot of our strategy is focused on Gen Z and millennials, and that is because, you know, they are very large generations, and also according to our research, they're the most likely to relocate. So we are focused on those, but for those 45 and plus, what we have really heard from that type of talent is that they really need the red carpet rolled out for them. They need a personal touch. So something we are exploring right now with FCEDA is, how do we capitalize on great resources like Visit Fairfax, for example, and do virtual tours for those who are older and need that kind of personal touch to convince them to relocate. That's a
And I'll just, as she's looking at the next question, I'll just add, I mean, I'm a lifelong Fairfax County resident, 30 years in the technology. I'm one of those that falls into that category of over 50, with a really great network that we're leveraging and building in all this technology to engage at all career levels, from entry level coming out of college to those that are late in career, that are really looking to transition, especially with what some of these great companies that might have had to lay off because of COVID, like I noted before, in United and Marriott and others, just from the hospitality and tech industry. So we're very focused on all age groups as well as ethnicities, and just really focused on the diversity at all levels.
Great point, Mike. We're also getting a lot of questions on, well, what does it mean to be a featured company? What would that look like? Patience, can you maybe visualize for people, what would our goal be? You know, if you come to us and say, I want to be a featured company, I want to be profiled on this site, what are the options, and what would we ask for companies who are interested in that?
Absolutely. So currently, as I briefly skimmed over and showed you on the site, we are pulling in jobs automatically via Jobs EQ. So if you're posting on Indeed, Google Jobs, Monster, it's very likely we're pulling your positions in. But if you want to showcase your positions more prominently, if you have a good stock of jobs that you're looking to fill, there is this opportunity to become a featured company. Ideally, what we'd ask from you is access to your applicant tracking system so that we can get that inventory of jobs. And essentially what we do is, instead of the automated method that we're currently using, is we would pull jobs directly from your site onto ours and showcase them prominently on our jobs page. So that's something that would be great to get in touch with Mike about. We're happy to discuss you know, the technical aspects of that further, but that's definitely an opportunity that's out there, and one that I think we're hoping some companies will take advantage of. Anything you'd add to that, Mike?
No, I mean, I think, you know, the goal with the applicant tracking system tying in really is just how you and we together can track where these leads are coming from as we're collectively trying to bring talent to the region. So there's nothing more to it than that. Is like, how can we make it known where these leads are coming from, and how can we help profile your company? So just, you know, as Patience said, engage us, and we'll help get your companies profiled. But I think it's important just to start with getting your company on the site and doing that pen placement.
And on that note too, just to really emphasize, someone did ask a question, is there a cost related to being a featured employer? Or really, I'm sure a lot of you are wondering for any of these things. To emphasize what Mike just said, no, flatly no. All we're looking for is, our goal is to support you. So we want to help you in any way we can. There is no cost other than for a featured employer. we would just like I think a two-way street feedback loop to understand, are we helping you? What can we do better? Mike, anything to add to that on cost?
I'll let Victor chime in.
Yeah, let me just give you the background on that. So about a year and a half ago, I mentioned this early in the presentation that the County Board of Supervisors, Chairman McKay and the supervisors all agreed that we needed to attract talent to this region. Everyone agreed that keep the talent here and attract talent here because we have so many jobs. And that became, really an acute situation, really in the last 5 years. But in the last year and a half, they actually provided funding. That's what's paying for this. Fairfax County Economic Development, it's in our budget. And what we've done is they basically told me, and we want you to collaborate. So we have 9 jurisdictions on this site working together. So we don't mind you being in another jurisdiction. We'll support you, we'll feature you. So there is no cost to you and there is no cost to the potential employee. So that's the wonderful thing about this. This is free. I was once in a finance class and a professor said, what is the return on finding a penny? And everybody raised their hand. And of course, it said one penny, et cetera. But someone raised their hand and said, look, you got the penny for free. So if you divide 0 into 1, you get infinity. So this is infinite return for you. This is no cost to you. This is nothing but return. And we really want to make it give it to you. Someone actually asked in the box, a couple of people asked if you can have this deck. Yes, we'll make this deck available. We'll just post it on our website so that you can get to it. It'll be under this title, and just to make it simple for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Victor. And another question for you, I feel like based on what I actually heard you talk about yesterday and the vision for Northern Virginia is relevant to this, but someone asked, what about the county and the region being promoted as a tech destination with communication network, wired community, schools, smart city approaches? Victor, you've talked about this many times, but I would love for the group to hear your vision for how we want Fairfax County, Northern Virginia to be perceived for those in the tech world.
Yeah, so I was, it's interesting, about a month ago, I was interviewed by Japan Forbes. And in that interview, at the end of the interview, which was about 1,000 questions, it was fantastic. I had a lot of fun doing it. And the questions I answered, every time I started answering a question, I answered it about Northern Virginia, not just Fairfax. And the reporter, at the end said, well, what's your vision for Fairfax? And I said, look, my vision for Fairfax is actually my vision for all of Northern Virginia. And this is it. It's a very simple vision that we are the innovation and technology center of the Western Hemisphere. It's just that simple. And that includes smart cities. That includes drone. That includes AI. That includes data analytics, data science. That includes every form of technology you can imagine, whether it's fintech or personal delivery. It doesn't matter. If we are the innovation and technology center of the Western Hemisphere, they are going to assume it's there. So do not worry. The message is very clear. We are the innovation and technology center of the Western Hemisphere, at least in my mind right now. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to convey that to everyone else's mind. Back in the 1950s, Detroit was the pinnacle of technology in the United States. It was the technology for the auto. The auto was king. And I remember, reading a book about Silicon Valley at that time. It was mostly agricultural. As a matter of fact, sorghum, soy, and corn, products like that were being grown there. Well, if you fast forward, somebody clearly had a vision. Look at Silicon Valley now. It is the center of technology of the world. What Detroit was, look where Detroit is in a struggling position, trying to get back to its former, incredible, position. All I can say is this: these centers move and shift over time. I feel them shifting in this direction. That's why I'm here. I'm here for all of Northern Virginia. And actually, to be honest with you, I'm here for the greater Washington region, which includes suburban Maryland, DC, and Northern Virginia. 6 million people, 3 million residents. Some of the brightest people in technology in the world, 70% of the internet traffic of the world. I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that we are there with you. We understand.
And just to extend too, we didn't emphasize it earlier, but we have contracted offices that are in these locations helping us bring that message to Silicon Valley and other areas that this is a tech hub here. So we have offices in California that are engaging with the companies there, as well as with the universities from USC to Stanford to on and on and on to again, continually educate them on this being a technology and other industry, but technology hub, and sharing those stats that Victor just shared, and then just working aggressively to recruit that talent here.
Thank you so much, Victor and Mike. Well, still a lot of great questions here. I'm sure we could go through all of these for all day, but we will not keep you here all day. We know you have a busy job marketing jobs and industries in Northern Virginia. But I do want to say for all of those who did ask specific questions on how to connect or questions about the site or what we can do to help, just know that we have your information from this webinar. We will be reaching out directly. And if you think of any question beyond this webinar, Heather, maybe actually we could go back to the slide with Mike's email. But just want to leave his email up here for you. We will make sure you get this information, this deck, this webinar. We want to connect, as I said, setting up one-on-one calls with you, Zoom sessions with you to figure out your challenges, your story, and how we might be able to help. Mike, any final words from you?
Now with that, we want to, again, just thank you for your time. We really appreciate your investment of this hour. And just hopefully you walk away again knowing that we're here for you. We're investing in you. We want to help you recruit talent here and keep talent here and continually build the brand for our region. So again, thank you so much. Please engage us. And as you've heard, we'll have this information posted, but don't hesitate reaching out, and we will follow up on the questions we weren't able to answer on this workshop via email. But again, thank you. You guys have a good day, and know that we're here for you. So thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.